Sometimes the most amazing ideas aren't buried in some super complex textbook. Nope, they're hiding right out in the open. Today, we're going to start a journey with just a single everyday word that's going to lead us to a huge concept about language itself.
So, where do we start? With a word that's like as simple as it gets, one we all use constantly but probably never ever give a second thought to.
Okay, so the word is middle. Super simple, right? The Simple English Wiktionary defines it as the place that is between two things. Yeah, seems pretty straightforward. You cut a piece of wood in the middle, you get two equal parts. But, as you're about to see, that is not the whole story. So as I was looking at this really simple definition, something else on the page totally caught my eye. It was this little note, this label, that just seemed completely random next to such a common word. The label said the word middle is on the Basic English 850 list. And my first thought was, wait, what? What on earth is that? It sounds so official, right? Almost kind of mysterious, like our plain old word, middle, is part of some secret exclusive club.
So naturally, that brings us to the big question here. What is the Basic English 850 list? Let's dig in and find out.
All right, to get to the bottom of this, we've got to start with the first part of that name, Basic English. And let me tell you, it's not just simple English. Oh no, it's a whole system with a really fascinating goal. And here it is. Basic English is what you'd call a constructed language. It's a stripped-down, simplified version of English, but it was built for a really specific reason, to be a tool for international communication. The whole idea was to create a version of the language that literally anyone, anywhere, could pick up super fast and actually use. And the secret sauce to the whole thing, it's core vocabulary.
Okay, so think about it. If you were going to build a language for the entire world, where would you even start? You'd have to be, incredibly picky. You'd have to focus only on the absolute must-have essentials.
And this is the magic number, 850. The folks who created Basic English, they were convinced that with just 850 carefully picked words, you could say pretty much anything you needed for everyday life. Not 5,000 words, not 10,000, just 850. That's the whole list. And our little word middle, well, it made the cut. But, being on this special list isn't the only cool thing about the word middle. See, linguists and data geeks, they have all sorts of ways to categorize words. And being part of the Basic English list, that's just one label out of many. This table here shows you exactly what I mean. See? Middle isn't just on the BE 850 list, it also happens to be one of the top 1,000 most common words in the British National Corpus, which is just this massive collection of written and spoken English. And, of course, it's a noun. So what does that tell us? It shows that the creators of Basic English weren't just picking words out of a hat. No, they chose words that are both super common and absolutely essential for getting things done.
Which kind of brings us to the whole point of this, the big idea behind it all. Why would anyone go to all the trouble of making a simplified language? What's the real power in stripping a language down to its bones like that?
Well, the vision here was actually pretty huge. For starters, it was all about making global communication easier, breaking down those language barriers. It was also a much faster way for beginners to get started with English. It also kind of forces you to be way more clear and direct with what you're saying. And maybe the most brilliant part, it could act as a solid launchpad for eventually tackling more complex ideas.
So, the main takeaway is this. The goal of Basic English was, it was pretty radical and really ambitious. It was this incredible attempt to actually engineer a tool for universal understanding. It was all built on this belief that with just a small, powerful set of words, you could communicate pretty much anything you needed for your day-to-day life.
And that leaves us with one last thing to chew on. Just think about it for a second. Think about your day, your work, your friends, all your ideas. Could you explain your world with only 850 words? It's a pretty wild challenge to think about, isn't it? And it really shows you the incredible power that's hiding inside this really simple idea